going on, guys? Dirt Sheet clocking in,
Good morning, fellas. This is Showtime,
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is DM.
and you're watching the Spoiler Alert Network.
and you're with us on the Spoiler Alert Network.
And you're watching the Spoiler Alert Network.
And we're going to be doing a little video today about us, and this is going to give you an idea about the page and those who are involved as a whole, get you to know us a little better and our goals for the page.
So we got a few questions. We're going to go ahead and get started with the first one.
Okay, so the Spoiler Alert Network is it's a content page. Pretty much anything nerd, whether it's wrestling, comic books, anime, video games. You've seen we have unboxing videos, all that good shit. Anything entertaining, and we bring it to you guys. And it started a couple of years ago, right? Time conception. Yeah, whenever Brad actually had the page, and then he roped us all into it.
The Spoiler Alert Network is our attempt to bring nerd content to the nerds. Our goal is to be a one-stop shop for everything nerdy. Anything that somebody has an interest in, we cover it. And that's what we aim to do, is to bring that to the people. Spoiler Alert Network started when Brad had his own Facebook review page going, and he realized that it was too much for one person to handle. So he wanted to bring us in, me and Dilly. So here we are, just killing it.
It's a dream. It's a vision of mine. It's a bunch of guys coming together, talking about nerdy stuff, anything to do with entertainment. And we do reviews, live streams of video games, footage of video game play, which is a big thing we're getting into layly. We do comic book content, videos about wrestling. We do unboxing videos. We're going to start doing a little more of those, I think. We're about to start doing some top 5 videos, ranking things, see how you guys like that. And it's just, we want it to be the main source of nerdy content for our fans. Just whatever you guys want it to be, that's what we want to make it. I'm going to do everything we can to bring you the best experience. And how did it start? Well, it was a long time ago. It was about 2016, I believe. I got in a full-time job. I was still doing college online. I gotten through all my major classes for graphic design, and I still had algebra and psychology, science type stuff left to do, and just with a full-time job, bills to pay, a family to take care of, it was just all too much for me to handle. I just couldn't keep up with it. I flunked out of college, and so I was like, that was it. I had a full-time job, I had my family to take care of, and I just needed something to take my mind off of everything, creative outlet. And so I started up a Facebook page. I was like, hey, how would people feel about me doing some movie reviews or just writing articles with comic book content, type that kind of stuff. And so I love to write and make anything creative, artsy. That was just me all throughout high school, college, everything. So I started this up, and it was just me doing everything. It was I was just writing a couple reviews every once in a while. I didn't have time to keep up with it by myself. A few years later, I met these other two guys, Dirt Sheet, Showtime, and through work or wherever. And so I ended up just going out on a limb one day recently. I was like, I can't keep up with this myself. You know, I have this page I do, and it's not much I can do about it. It's hard for me to keep up. How would you guys like to join me and help me out with it? And thankfully, they both agreed, sort of. It took a little bit of convincing for Showtime, because he's really not into the comic book stuff, the nerdy stuff, but he was big into wrestling. I know he always wanted to start like a wrestling podcast, things like that. So I was like, hey, maybe we can do that one day. We can do some wrestling content. And so he agreed. Yeah, let's do it. And the rest is history.
Okay, so I'm a piece of shit. I don't really know this one. I know that Brad had a name for the page for a while whenever he did it as a solo project, but then our nickname guru, Showtime, actually come up with a new name, which is what you guys know now, the Spoiler Alert Network, on our Facebook page, and they come up with this dope ass logo, and that was pretty much the birth of it. And that's as much as I probably know more, but I can't remember it, so that's what you guys are getting.
The name for the Spoiler Alert Network was based off of Brad's original name, which was the Spoiler Alert review page, I believe. And we brainstormed a lot the first couple days when we started the page up as a group, and we decided that branding was really important. So we wanted everything to be under the brand of the network. I like the name network because it incorporates the idea of several entities coming together. And that's what we're doing. We're bringing everybody together into a network. That's where the name came from.
When I started the page originally, yeah, I just did reviews on movies and TV shows and things like that. So I called it the Spoiler Alert review page. It was kind of a dumb idea. I was like, well, what are you going to get? Spoiler alert, I'm doing reviews. That was kind of where the name came from. But then once I got the other two guys involved, Showtime, he's kind of like the Cisco Ramon of the group. Like, he's good with coming up with nicknames. If you ever seen the Flash TV show, you know what I'm talking about. But he's good with the nicknames, and he figured, oh, this is a network. It's guys coming together. The Spoiler Alert Network. So he kept the original name in there, and we just came up with something a little better. It flowed a little better, and I liked it, and I was like, let's do it.
Not much. So I'm a big comic book fan. I keep up with Marvel and DC movies. I've done a couple of page-to-screen articles where we talk about the comic book history, transferring over to the big screen with certain characters from comic books. I am going to start unboxing videos at some point, and I've done a couple of videos, but other than that, I'm just kind of here, talking about things that I love. Okay, so I guess we'll start with my weaknesses first. My weaknesses are I'm bad at words. I'm really, really bad with words, whether it's typing or saying them. And that's pretty much it. I'm fucking great. My strengths, though, are I keep up with Marvel and DC news on the regular, as well as wrestling, so I'm up to date with current events. My strengths are not being good at words, and I also have nothing going for me, so I have a bunch of time to be able to do this stuff.
Technically, I'm the project coordinator. I have not coordinated a project in a very long time. So right now, I don't really know what I do. I come up with ideas a lot. We never do them because I'm a piece of shit. Which seems to be a theme between us, I guess. So what I actually do mainly is recording video content. I record wrestling content, wrestling previews, wrestling reviews. I do a wrestling subscription crate unboxing video every month. We're jumping into these top 5 videos now, and I recently started streaming on Twitch. So I'm kind of trying to do everything, and it's going well so far, so no reason to stop. My strengths are that I think I'm good at coming up with ideas. I think I'm pretty good at that. And my weakness is I'm just a piece of shit, and I can't stay motivated enough to actually do anything with the ideas I come up with.
I guess I'd be the project lead. I'd be the head of the whole thing, the editor. Anything that these guys want to talk about or post, they ask me first, and I approve it, I guess. I mean, a lot of it's all good ideas, so a lot of it kind of goes through whatever we have time to do. So I guess you'd say I'm the editor, the head guy, lead guy. But strengths and weaknesses. strengths, my brain is always going at 1,000,000 miles per hour. I'm having ideas every second of the day, and just trying to come up with new content. And that's just always how I've been. I have a vision. I want to make it a reality. But unfortunately, my weaknesses, time and motivation, are kind of. I don't have a lot of either, and I'm working on that. But I just sometimes I don't want to put the effort in to do things. So that's my biggest weakness, I think.
I didn't. My stage name was actually Showtime come up with it, and it was because he come up with Dirt Sheet because I read a lot of articles and I keep up with a lot of news and events, so I kind of always have a source, I guess, even though I really don't. But it works, so I like Dirt Sheet. I like the flow to it.
Showtime is a nickname that I've had for about 11 years now. When I was a young lad in 2008, I was getting into Xbox Live, and I just like the name Saint Showtime. So that is my Xbox Live gamer tag if you want to look me up. But I've had Showtime as a shortened version of that for quite a while now, several years at least. It's just where it came from. I don't know. I like the word Showtime, the name Showtime. Just feels right.
Stage name, my screen name, my whatever, the name for the page. Actually, it's just my initials, technically, which originally, when I was in college doing graphic design, we had to come up, last semester we had to come up with our brand for what our design studio or whatever it was going to be called. Mine was just DM Design, and that's what I ran with. I'm not clever with nicknames, so that's what I came up with, DM Design, and that's the first thing I thought of whenever we decided to have nicknames for the page, for the YouTube channel. But it is my real life initials. And Dirt Sheet kind of brought up a good point with it. He's big into Dungeons and Dragons and things like that, which I've not actually played. So it's DM is a general abbreviation for Dungeon Master. Since I'm the head, that was kind of his idea. But it's just kind of ironic because I've never played Dungeons and Dragons in my life, but I like the idea behind the nickname. My wife doesn't like it. She came up with a different name for me, which we're not going to talk about right here. But anyways, yeah, and then that's pretty much how I got the nickname, how the stage name.
Yeah, a bunch. I have Dilly, which is a take on my last name. Dillweed, Deputy Dipshit. That was one that I got called the other day. There's Squirrely Isaac because Squirrely Dan is my spirit animal. And there's a couple more I can't think of right off the top of my head.
Yeah, no. Not any that anybody actually calls me. Not any that matter.
I have a lot, really. My main nickname, you'll hear it a lot in our videos, and you'll hear it in this video. These guys call me Brad, which that's something Showtime came up with when we worked together. The first couple words he said to me, I walked up to him. He's like, is it alright if I call you Brad? I was like, you know what? Sure, you do you, whatever. So he just ran with that ever since, and it kind of stuck with everybody else, and I answer to Brad, Bradley, whatever. That's my biggest other nickname. That's what they call me. They don't even call me DM, so I'm thinking about changing my name on the page. But no, I've had several. Another guy I worked with a long time ago told me I looked like a Keebler elf, so he started calling me Keebler. Alright. So I answered to that. People call me Wee Man. There's a bunch of different nicknames, but I can't even think of all of them.
I honestly don't know anymore. I go by so many different nicknames from these guys that I have an identity crisis, and I really don't know what my real name is.
Nah. I'm Showtime. That's just me. That's not a stage name. That's fucking me.
It doesn't matter.
Okay, so that's a two-parter. This was all brought together through Brad. I worked with Brad at a random Denny's a couple years ago, and at the time there was pretty much nobody else that worked at the store, so it was just us, and we did random bullshit and shenanigans on the cook's line all the time, and we just kind of, he wasn't scared about the fact that I did random bullshit and shenanigans, so we just kind of clicked from there. And then I met Showtime actually like 3 or 4 months ago, face to face. But I've known him for several years because we were involved in several group chats, mainly because Brad was getting married and we were both supposed to show up. I didn't, because reasons. But we still stayed in several group chats through the course of a couple years. And at one point, I actually didn't know if he existed or not. I thought that I was either getting catfished or Brad had created a fake profile to befriend me and give me false hope that I could actually meet and talk to people. But that seems really cruel. But we met a couple months ago. We all showed up at Brad's house to kind of start with this project, and that's where we all met officially.
Me and Brad met when we started working together at a job, to be vague. And then we became pretty good friends. And then at some point there, he decided that he was going to get married. And I was going to be in his wedding. And then this other dickhead, Dilly, Dirt Sheet, he was supposed to be in the wedding also. So we were in a group chat, deciding how we were going to handle that whole wedding business and the bachelor party and everything, which never came to fruition because we're pieces of shit. And that was like 3 years ago, 4 years ago, something. And we just met for the first time, like 3 months ago.
I met Dirt Sheet Dilly first. When I was in college, I worked at Denny's. And he had been off for, I don't know, medical leave or something. I don't remember what it was. Anyway, we met at Denny's, me and Dilly, and we kind of just started talking. I think he was wearing a St. Louis Cardinals hat, and I was like, hey, do you like baseball? You like the Cardinals? That's kind of, I don't watch sports, but that would be my team if I had a team. So then we got to talking about wrestling and things like that, and comic book stuff. He's big into that. I was too, so we just kind of clicked, and ever since then I've known him. And then a couple years later I started working same job as Showtime. We met, we kind of hit it off, became good friends. But then we all became good friends, and we were all in a group chat together talking about just general stuff, and I invited both of them to be in my wedding, and we started planning that out, and they got to know each other too. I had told Showtime about Dilly at one point, how I was like, I knew this guy who, whatever, was into wrestling, whatever. So then that's just kind of how we all met, and then we started this up.
As I said, this was Brad's brainchild. He had it going for a while, and then whenever he realized that all of this was a lot for one person to keep up with, especially a person who had as much going on at the time as him, that's whenever he reached out and he asked me and Showtime if we wanted to get involved and do this. And that's what made me want to get into this. It was the fact that a really good friend of mine was asking me to get involved with a project he was very, very passionate about. So when a friend asks for help, you help them.
So Brad was doing the spoiler alert review page, and then he just decided that it was too much for one person to do, so he got us involved, and I was one of the first people he thought of, and I thought that that was a real honor that he trusted me enough with his vision to run with it, and together we've evolved the page beyond just reviews and articles and stuff. We're working together to really put out quality content, and I think we're doing a pretty good job.
Just keep my writing skills fresh, and just felt like I needed a creative outlet. And then it was just me for a time, and then I was like, I can't do this alone, so let's ask these other guys if they can help me, and I trusted them more than anybody else. I asked a few other people, but just life kind of got in the way, and, you know.
My personal goals for the page is all the way to the top. You know, I want us to get as big as possible, reach as many people as possible, and impact as many lives as possible. Whether we have 99 followers or 999,000 followers, as long as you guys like the content that we are pumping out, that is all that matters to me.
Future's hard for me, but there's no ceiling really. We're gonna keep on stacking followers. We're gonna hopefully eventually start stacking money. We're gonna get merchandise. We're gonna get sponsorship deals. We're gonna start doing stuff, and it's just really exciting to think about where we're gonna be in the near future and the distant future. I got high hopes for us.
I want it to go as far up as it can. It's a big dream of mine to actually do something that matters and that people will be entertained by and they'll click with. In the future, I just want it to be the main source of entertainment and nerdy type of content that people kind of gravitate to. It may take a while, but I mean, I'm not giving up on it. I know these guys aren't giving up on it, and that's pretty much. I see it going bigger than what it is right now, at least.
That's a serious question. So my long-term goals for this page are to be able to make a living off of this. This is all I want to do. You know, I don't want to go to work at a job that it pays well, but I'm a slave for 12 hours a day. I'm not really passionate about it. I don't love what I do. I just go, I clock in, I do my work, and I go home. It's repetitive. I love this. This is stuff that we're passionate about, you know, talking about comic books, talking about video games, playing video games, and you guys watching and eating up that content. That's what drives me. So I guess my long-term goals for myself would be the fact that I've never been motivated for anything like I have this page. This page motivates me. It keeps me busy. It's something that I enjoy, and I'm not out here fucking up my life as long as I'm rolling out content for you guys.
The long-term goal is pretty obvious: to make money. I want us to be able to quit our jobs and do this all the time. Because hanging out with these guys is great. Spending time with these guys is great. Recording videos for you guys is great. And everything is just great. And I'd rather get paid for it than to just be doing it for fun.
I don't want to be stuck clocking in, clocking out, doing the same job for 40 years that I'm not passionate about. I want this to be my job. We've all talked about it. I want it to go somewhere. I want maybe one day we have booths or panels at a Comic-Con or some type of wrestling event or some kind of gathering where we can meet and talk and Q&A and maybe make it into a company one day. I want it to go as far up as it can, make some money off of it, which isn't the most important thing, but I just want a better life for me and my family, and I feel like it wouldn't be fair to these guys either if we didn't go places. I want them to have better lives than they have now. I know none of us want to be stuck at a job we're not passionate about for the rest of our lives. And I'm passionate about this. I love talking about this stuff. I could talk about nerd content and everything all day, so that's where I want it to go in the long term, is just up.